Well, welcome everybody. My name's Sean. If you don't know me, never met me, I'm from Mesa, Arizona. That's where I am today. And I'm going to be teaching a class based on the SE series of instruments made by Lowry, as well as the intermediate size A series instruments. So in case you need those models, they start with the Quick Start in the SE line, and then they go to the Adventurer 2. There's a Conductor, a Regency. There is an Odyssey, which is right, looking at mirrored here. This is called an Odyssey, and then the top of the line of the SE series is this right here. That's called a Premier. This is all I have today, so I'm teaching with these ones. But if you have anything I mentioned there, we will cover it, as well as the intermediate-sized A-series models, such as the Encore. And then over here I have the Holiday Classic. You can get a better look at it. I got another camera. I'll use this a little later. But there's our Holiday Classic in beautiful oak. So I will be teaching on these today, and hopefully you'll get something out of it. I'm going to start very simply. And I'm going to be talking about choosing a rhythm style first. So we're going to keep it really simple, just how to pick a rhythm, how the rhythm section works. That'll be kind of part one. I'll go through all of these a little bit. And then part two will sort of be more on picking a sound to go with it. Because I'm sure you all have a lot of music books that you put up and you say, well, what do I do now, right? So we're gonna get you going on that today. So let's start over here on what is called the Odyssey here. So let me move this. I'm going to be moving this camera around a bit, hopefully not too much. Let's see if I can get it over here. There we go. That should work, I think, right? You can see it. Okay. You can see me. Okay. This bench is clunky there. Okay. So I'm going to talk about this left side starting out. The left side of your instrument is the rhythm section. It's like hiring a band to play with. And what do you know? On the left side, it actually controls your left hand. So left side, left hand. This stuff on the right side I'll talk about later. That is for your right hand. Simple enough, right? Most of you probably know that by now. So what I'm going to do is talk about this here. These left side rhythm section buttons. Let me actually do this so you can see it better. I've got a little screen here, I believe. There we go. Okay, so hopefully you should see a screen that kind of looks like the left side of the instrument. It says Rhythm Plus Orchestration. And if you look at the buttons on the left side, can you see that? There's a little square around it now. I don't know if you could see that, but on the left side it's kind of broken up there. So it has all of what we would call genres of music. Those are your rhythm style choices. So easiest way to use them, and look, have what's called a rhythm preset, and I'll talk about that a little later as well. So in theory, all you should have to do if you want to play a song, for example, if you want to play a country song, what button do you think you press? Country, yeah. I'm just assuming you all said it. So that's on the left side. I touch, what's that? Oh. So I touch country here, and I'm ready to go. All I got to do is play. So I'm going to use my introduction button and just kind of show you what the country button sounds like. Easy as that. So that's just touching one button. Now let me put that picture back up so you can see it a little better. That way I don't have to bring the computer closer. So we talked about that left side. Now on this right side of that panel here, over here, we have all the different ways we can modify that left side. So the left side we have our genres and our music styles, and then on the right side of that section it gives us ways we can kind of manipulate it and do something different. So I'm going to start with that first button on there on the bottom left here. I don't know if you can see the mouse or not, but it says Basic. You see the button that says Basic? Now this starts, I believe, on the Regency. So on the Quick Start, the Adventurer 2, and Conductor, you have all these rhythm style buttons over here. Then starting on the Regency, you get a new button that says Basic. Now this is great. I still have country music selected. You can kind of see the light over there. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add on the button that says Basic. And all this is going to do is turn that type of rhythm style into something very basic, something you can learn with. So listen to this. It's just an even more simple country style. Let me put the introduction on. Now listen to that background. You can hear not much of anything going on besides just a nice country rhythm. There's not a lot of, slide guitars and fiddles and, all these crazy things going on. It's just very simple or basic, okay? Now, as we get into instruments like this, if you have something like an Odyssey or a Premier, I'll get to as well, you have another button right next to that. Let me show you on the picture again. There we go. You have another button right next to it, and it says Variation. Now this is really cool because I still am using these buttons on the left. Whatever you touch on that left side, no matter what on the right side, whatever you touch, that button's going to stay on. So I still have country on. So I have that country button lit, and now I'm going to touch Variation here. And what's going to happen is it's going to take that country rhythm style music. So this gives me a totally different style. Rather than have that nice country swing, I've got my train coming. So that's for if you like things like bluegrass music, things like that, where it's a faster type of country. And here's what's great. That was just one example. All I did was country music. You've got things like big band, Broadway music, marches, Latin, and you can keep adding on those two different buttons and get more rhythm styles. And what you want to do is, if you haven't explored this area, you can use it with music. You can just put up a song and try different buttons. Or what I like to do is I like to just touch one, see what happens, and then I think of what to play. I think, wow, that would sound really good with, so-and-so. So I might touch a button that says Broadway, and then just touch any chord here. And that might kind of signal to me, oh, I know what that would sound good with, or I know how to change that and make it sound even better. You can go to rock and roll and say, well, maybe I want the variation. Let's try that one. So explore that left side of the instrument, because there's a lot of different choices and a lot of ways you can change it up. Now you have other buttons there. I'm not going to get too into these, but these are for if you are already kind of accustomed to that sort of concept we just talked about, where you have a rhythm style, the basic button, a variation. the other buttons up here, let's just talk mostly about these ones here. Genie, Orchestra Plus, and Auto Bass. You can really change up that by pressing those buttons as well, and they just bring different members of the band in and out. So I saw I had a question a moment ago. Richard, you got a question? You go ahead.
1 second.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
I have a symphony.
Okay.
So there's no bass. I mean, you can Orchestra Plus and Genie and everything. There's no basic, or does that apply to basic or what you were saying?
Well, this workshop's more for the intermediate one. So yeah, the basic is more of an intermediate kind of feature
Okay.
or beginner feature. What's
Because
kind of
on the email it said including A models, including the symphony.
yeah. That's okay. It has a list there. It's more the intermediate style ones, like the Holiday Classic and Encore, is on the list there.
No problem.
If you want, though, all the stuff will still apply. The only thing that's different about the Symphony and the touchscreen models is on some of them they don't have the basic option because they replace it with new styles or kind of more professional styles for you professionals. You know.
So I should also go to the larger Zoom classes, maybe.
Yeah, there's another one that's called just A series.
Oh, okay.
And,
no problem.
yeah, and that one's more for the touch screen type stuff. And I think, I'm not sure, but maybe check, because on all the emails he sends, he usually has like a list of instruments that it'll go along with.
Does.
I'm not sure if he always does, but I know most of the time.
problem.
So that's fine.
No problem. Thank you.
Yeah, so moving on here, let's see. I think that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about with this. Those Genie and Orchestra Plus buttons, like I said, that's another way to kind of just vary the style that you have on and change it up. Maybe if you've got that country thing on and there's too much in the background, because you got slide guitars, fiddles, things like that. You can take them out if you want. If I touch that Orchestra Plus button, they go bye-bye. Now it's nice and simple. So that's just keeping it simple. So that's the easy part of the workshop so far. And then when you move over to instruments like this one over here, I'm going to try to anyway. If hopefully I don't get disconnected. But here I have what's called a Premiere. Let me see if I can move this. All right, now this is the top of the SE models. And on this one here, I have even more buttons over here, obviously. That makes sense. So they work exactly the same way. And by the way, if you do have a touch screen model, it still works the same way. But rather than touch the variation button, your variations, you know, plural, because you have probably several of them, they all just pop up on your screen here. So on this, all I have to do is if I want a rhythm style, there's a new one on the Premiere, if you have that, called Contempo, which is just short for contemporary, which means I can play something like put on my variation and play a disco. So it's a little bit more contemporary than the other ones. The other ones have a lot of older styles, 40s, 50s, some 60s. Now we get into the 70s with this guy here. So let's see what this sounds like. Cool. You got the YMCA in there. Here's what's cool about this instrument too is they change it up. So for several of your rhythm styles here, you actually have new introductions, and you can have an introduction in a minor key now. So if I start a song with say a minor chord rather than a major, that one was just, I think I started that with an F. If I do it with a different chord, such as, I don't know, A minor, you see that chord a lot, it'll give a different introduction with a different type of sound. And I'll get to this a little later, but if you notice, we do have more buttons in the center here, which give us more options for sound. So that'll be the second half, but I'll do a quick example of that here. I can turn off my rhythm preset on this one, and now those buttons are not set up to play with disco. I can set it up a different way, maybe with a pipe organ. And why would I do that? Because maybe I want to play Phantom of the Opera. Let's try that. Because that one's in a minor key. Here we go, A minor. So even with the same styles you might have, you got more ways to play them. Obviously, with every instrument, makes sense. They add more and more stuff as the line goes up. So that was disco using the pipe organ that's built into here. So I'm going to move on real quick and just kind of show you how it looks like. You should all have something like this in your manuals. Give me just a second to pull it up here. I pressed a wrong button, and now I just see different colors here. So, all right, there we go. So you'll see something like this, and of course I can't see it for some reason. Maybe you can. Does it look like there's a style table on the screen? Okay, good. I can't see it for some reason. I goofed up my screen here. But that's just kind of what it looks like as an example. So you have your regular music style, something like rock and roll, etc. And then you have different ways to play it, like the variation and your basic. So there should be something like this in all of your instrument manuals, and it's great to go through and look at, because maybe somebody in one of the classes says, for this song, use the so-and-so style. That makes it really easy to just kind of look at your little table and say, oh, what's the combination? You know, so you can look at this kind of like a key. You need the combination to it. So they might say use the smoky lounge style, and you go, well, where the heck is that? You know, so you look at that little table. If you have several styles to choose from, it makes it easy to kind of list them there, and you'll find that that is the ballad variation. So you have to have that variation button on so you get the second type, which is smoky lounge. And as I go to this instrument over here, hopefully I don't hurt myself. I'm going to try turning this screen here so you can see it as I run over every cable I have. Perfect. Okay. And look at this one, even has a color screen. Woo! Sit down here. So on this instrument here, the Holiday Classic, it adds even more stuff. So this is if you have a Holiday Classic or even an Encore. You have different options for those. I'm going to try sharing the screen again, and hopefully I can actually see it this time. Let me do this. Give me just a second. Close out a couple of things. Doot, 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 doot. There we go. There we go. All right. So what's nice is on these A series, let me pull that up now. I got it ready to go finally. If I can just click better. There we go. So on here, it looks somewhat like this. This is what the Encore button panel looks like. It's very, very similar to what we saw with the SE series. But on here, we have, on the right side, all these different choices for how to change it up a bit for you. And if you look at that variation button, well, what do you know? It's plural. That means it's going to give you several different variations to choose from. And for example, let's look at the Holiday Classic, which is what I'm looking at right now. If I touch a button on this side over here, I can actually touch that variations button, and it'll give me several variations. So if I touch that, you can't quite see the screen there, but it gives me 3 different options in addition to the main rhythm over here. So I touched a new one called Rhythm and Blues, and then as I go through here, I get 3 more. I get variation 1, variation 2, and variation 3, and I just go up or down, highlight what I want, and it's set up. So let's do one as an example, one of my all-time favorite rhythm styles. Actually, I need the music for this because I want it to be just right for you. I don't want to embarrass myself, you know. So there is a rhythm style, and with these instruments, this is where we get into, I got this question the other day, what are called signature styles. Now, what is a signature style, you might ask? A signature style is just a rhythm style on your instrument that is based on an original arrangement. So you can write that down if you're curious. That's the signature style, a style of music based on an original arrangement. So there's a rhythm style on here, my favorite one. It's called Unforgotten. And now, if I put on that rhythm and I put the music in front of me for Unforgettable, I get the perfect accompaniment for that. So listen to the background in this. This is really important. We've done this in a couple classes, but it's really, really important to listen to that background because they stick every little thing for that song perfectly in here. So here is Unforgettable with the Unforgotten signature style. Sorry, looks like I had that one a little loud. Hopefully it wasn't too yucky sounding on there. Let me turn this camera back on. Whoa, that's too close. Okay. So that is the holiday classic and kind of how the rhythm styles on this work. I will go into one more thing because it's on here, so I might as well. This also gives you an option. There's another button over here. I don't have a picture of this one, but there's a button added to that modification side here. So you had your rhythm styles, and then over here is how you can modify it. I get a new button, and this one's the best button because it kind of takes everything you have in there and multiplies it by 2. It's called Alter Style. So if you have this button, you have twice as many styles basically as your instrument might say you do. For example here, I'm going to go to one that's on all of these instruments. Even if you have something like a conductor, you know, you'll have this rhythm style. Hopefully I don't run over a cable. Oh, I already did. Okay, whoops. Your big band button, you know, so you all have a big band button. And what happens on this instrument here If I just pull up the regular big band style, you get something called swing band. Now that's on all of them. You all have swing band, and that's sort of a signature style because it's based on Glenn Miller. So it sounds like this. Let me switch again. Sounds like this. So you get that perfect style for something like In the Mood. You know, it's got that upbeat sound. Now say I want to use that style. I like that Glenn Miller sound, but maybe I want to play a different one of his songs. I can touch the Alter Style button, and it'll do exactly what it says. It alters that style. So now I'm still hiring Glenn Miller, but let's play a different song here. Very cool, very cool. Any questions about anything I've talked about so far? It's our questions and answer break before I move on to part 2. That was just choosing a rhythm so far. So hopefully you should all feel somewhat comfortable with looking at your instrument and knowing how to pick a different rhythm style to play with based on your song. So I don't see any hands raised. Do I see anybody flailing? Let me look. Nope. Okay, easy enough. So I'm going to move on to part 2. And part 2 will be about... Oh, man, somebody's sleeping. Part 2 will be about choosing a sound. So this will be your right hand this time. So if you excuse me, I'm going to move the camera again. And I'm going to go back to the Odyssey because we're going to start from scratch again. Woo! Look at that. There we go. And I've only run over 3 cables. There we go. Okay, and tripped. All right, I'm coming. Okay. All right. I am back at the Odyssey here. So now I'm going to talk about your right hand. So I kind of alluded to this earlier. You should all have a button on your instrument that says Rhythm Preset. And I think most of you by now probably know what that does. But let me show you here just in case. Let me get rid of some of these other pictures I had up. Well, I guess I don't need that. Here we go. All right. So you should all have what's called Rhythm Preset. And what that's going to do is take anything we talked about earlier, any right-hand button here, left hand. When you touch any of these buttons over here, like I did country, you heard big band, you heard some swing music. If you touch any of those buttons there, what your Rhythm Preset is doing is it's exactly what it says again. It is presetting your sounds here to match your rhythm. So if I touch big band, I'm going to get a different sound, you know, than when I touch the country button. It automatically did that. I touch a style that I want, and it gives me the sound that I know I'm going to want with that style. So super easy. And it's pretty much on all the time anyway. It just says rhythm preset. Let me see if I have a picture here so you can see it. Yes, so on the bottom left there it says rhythm preset. You all have that. And now what happens is, I think this is the premiere here. Yeah. What happens is those numbers, if you have them, those numbers throughout the center of the instrument, 1, 2, 3, 4, some of them go up to 4, some of them go up to 8, and then some of them go up to 10. And what happens is it gives you different sounds to go with your rhythm. So we're talking about the bottom half first, so it should say, let me do this so you see what I'm talking about here. Where's my... I guess I don't have it. There we go. Whee! That is the worst circle I've ever drawn. So that is rhythm preset. So all those numbers next to it, if you have them, that's what they're going to correspond to. So if you go through and play a song, like for example, I'll do something like, let's do Broadway here. And I'm just going to go through these buttons in the center and listen for the sounds, and you can kind of guess even what button I might have on. Because you'll either hear strings if I touch number 4. If I touch number 8, I'll get something like a piano sound. But what's great is, depending on the rhythm I have, it's going to be a different type of piano or a different type of organ or strings. So let's listen to Broadway music here and see what it gives me. So you could hear as I was going along with there, all I did was touch a different number, and you can kind of hear things change from piano to strings to anything that corresponds with Broadway music. Now, obviously, if I had something else selected, like a polka, it's going to give me totally different sounds to go with that. So it's automatic. So this whole right side of the instrument, you know, people ask me all the time, how do I do that? How do I know what to... And I say, don't. Stop using it. Don't worry about it. Use those buttons in the middle and it'll pick a sound for you right away. So you don't have to worry about that. Because on this right side, think about it this way. These buttons on the right side that say piano, banjo, vibes, accordion, that is your sound library. Okay? That's where all your sounds live. And what these buttons in the middle are doing, well, that's like your librarian that's asking your librarian, hey, get me a book about science fiction, you know, and they pull it for you. They give it to you. Just like that. So I touch a button in the middle, you know, number 8, for example, and it'll give me a good piano type sound depending on what style I have. So rather than you have to go find, you know, a honk-tonk piano, for example, and scroll through stuff and try to look for a button, just touch number 8 when you're on the country button. Easy as that. So let's talk about this a little bit. The rhythm preset button, like I said, is pretty much always on automatically. What's nice is when you have an instrument with these buttons in the center, if you want to turn that off, if I turn off that rhythm preset button, I get what are called general presets. General preset, reporting for duty. you get general presets. So throughout those numbers, rather than correspond with the rhythm you picked, they're all just going to be the same. So what it says right there is exactly what you're going to get if you use the general presets. So if you touch number 9, if you have that, it will always give you a jazz organ. So keep in mind this is when your rhythm preset button is off. If it's off, that's exactly what you get, is what you see on the screen. Okay, so that is what I did when I played, and I wanted that pipe organ sound rather than, like I said, scrolling through sounds trying to find it. I knew that if I have my general presets selected, I can touch number 2, and just like it said on the screen there, it said number 2 is your pipe organ, or it says on here cathedral organ. But that went perfectly with Phantom of the Opera. So, any questions on rhythm preset and how that works? Because that's super important. Rhythm preset and general presets. And I've got some more I'll talk about in a second here. Nothing? Anything? Bueller? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Premiere over here. So give me just a moment. I'm going to move again. There we go. Oh, good. And nothing unplugged. Thought I might, actually. So at the Premiere here, let's look at this. I have a couple more buttons to choose from. So I talked about rhythm presets and general presets, which just give that rhythm corresponds with what you select over here, the rhythm section. General is just whatever sounds that'll go with anything. They're always going to stay the same. Now, my other choice here, get my mouse out. Let me see if I have a picture so you can see a little better. Oh, let me close this first. The next one I'm going to show you is called category presets, and that's on the right side of all those buttons there. Looks like this. Oh boy, I don't see it again there. There we go. It looks like this. Do you see category presets on the screen? Let me see. Let me make sure I did that right. Oh, it was up there? Okay. Perfect. There we go. Category presets. So this is so cool. I like this because if you want a certain sound to go with your music, now you can kind of mix and match here. So does anybody know who, let's see, what's his name? Henry Mancini. Do you guys know who that is? Some of you do. I see some nods. Henry Mancini was a very famous musician because he would take and play something like a Latin style of rhythm. So he'll do a Latin rhythm here. And then what he'd do is instead of using Latin styles of instruments, he would use kind of that big band type of instruments. He'd use muted trumpets, clarinets, things like that. So now what's cool is if I touch either of those buttons, it just changes what all 10 buttons in your middle section does, your presets. So if I touch big band, poof. Now all these buttons in the center are going to be big band instruments. Even though I have my Latin style, like this, my Latin rhythm is on, but now these 10 numbers in my right hand are going to be big band sounds. I can kind of mix and match. So you can find the perfect sound without having to, like I said, go through this right hand area. I don't like this area. Avoid it. It's just complicated. Unless you want to make really specific settings where you want maybe a kazoo on the top and a banjo on the bottom or something goofy. But most of the time you just want a certain type of instrument. So I'm going to touch that big band category and just play through some of the sounds with my Latin orchestra. Okay, so Latin on the left, big band on the right. Check this out. I love those endings. They're all so good to use. Keep using those endings. That's the best part of it. So that just adds another one, right? So now you can use different what are called categories. And obviously on the A series, like the Encore or the Holiday Classic, I have even more of them. So I'm going to make the move now, move over one more time here. And hopefully I don't run over more cables. Oh my goodness. Got like 34 cables. It looks like a zoo in here. If cables were animals anyway. So, all right. So we're back at the Holiday Classic here, and I got my screen up there. Now this is cool. What the Holiday Classic and the Encore do, it goes a step above the others, and it says, rather than kind of let you guess at what the sound you're going to get is, let me show you this here, see if this can come up on the screen as well. Go away. Okay, that's better. I'm going to share. On the Holiday Classic here and the Encore, it'll actually tell you on the bottom what type of sound you have. You see it says General Preset on that top left one here. I'll kind of show you here. General Preset right there. And then right underneath it, it actually tells you exactly what you get. So if I change that and I say, now I want to use a category, it'll tell you, oh, you're on the categories. And it'll tell you exactly what you have on the top and then exactly what's on the bottom. So there, so you can always know what you're going to get. So when you play through a song, if I'm on the country category, for example, I wish you could see that video up there. I put it there so you can see it, and it's still so tiny, so it's hard to see. But if you look at that, it actually tells me what I'm getting. Let me make my screen bigger. So when I touch country, it says category preset, and if I go through those different numbers, it'll tell you what each one of them is. See how it keeps changing as I go along? Woo! On the top and the bottom. So let's do another example so I can kind of look first and then say, no, I don't want that one, and then I can go to the next one. So let's do another country. I don't know any other country songs, so I'm going to play Hey Good Lookin' again, and I'm just going to go through, and I'm going to pick different sounds. So watch this here. I've got my country button on over here, and I'm just going to play through these 10 buttons and watch the screen. It'll keep changing there. All right, last order of business. You have one more way that you can choose a sound to play with. Hold on just a second. Let me click on one button here. You can also save your work if you want to. So that is if you have a button that says bank presets, or if it says memorize on your instrument. Look for the button that says memorize. And you will see that on the Odyssey, I think is where it starts. It says memorize. Now, you don't have to memorize your music or memorize any notes. All it's saying is you can memorize whatever buttons you pressed to the A bank or the B bank. So if you want to save your work, that's a great option to have. And on this, normally on all of the instruments in this class, I think that what it's for is the SE series and the intermediate A series. It just saves it straight to the instrument. On the Holiday Classic here, you get a new feature called USB. So maybe you heard of that. It looks like this here. Let's see if I can pull that up here. Give me just a moment. Close out of that. Open this. Share that. Okay. Okay, just showing you a little bit closer here because it's a little easier to see. So this is kind of a recap right here of everything I talked about. It says on the bottom left, it says rhythm preset. That's where it gave us the setups and presets that go with the style we picked. Category presets gives you some options there. Right above that, general presets if all those buttons are off. And lastly, on the right side here, it says bank presets. So you'll see if you have something like this, there's a USB port. You can actually save your work to a USB. That way, if you accidentally reset or something like that, you don't lose them. They're backed up on your USB. It's funny, I have students all the time still the BSU stick. But it is USB. It's like Universal Serial Bus or something like that, I think. I'm probably wrong. Correct me later. But that's the way to save your setups. I don't think I'll go into that today because that's a whole class on its own. But just keep in mind that's the purpose of these A and B banks. However, if you don't save anything there, that's quite all right as well. You actually have built-in sounds in those banks. Just kind of a short version. The A bank, if you have that, is actually full of Lowry organ sounds. So if you go through those 1 through 10 buttons here, it gives you different Lowry organ sounds. Easy enough. If you touch the B button, it gives you what are called jazz organs. They're kind of more modeled after the Hammond sound. So Hammond-type organs in the B bank. So if you like organ stuff, these are great. They got great sounds in here. In that B bank, you got things like Lenny D, I think, somewhere around here. There he is. Lots of cool sounds in there. So, are there any questions about anything I've talked about? I think we got a lot going on here. Tried to keep it super simple so you're not, whoa, over my head or under your head. We want it to go through your head. So any questions on anything I talked about, either the rhythm styles or your sound choices or presets? Anything, no questions, any questions? All right, well, that's all I got. I see Robert is on here. I don't know if he has any announcements he wanted to make, or if he's just watching to enjoy my class because he can learn a thing or two.
I'm here.
I can't hear you, Robert, if you're talking. I see your mouth moving, though.
You can't hear me?
Nope, can't hear you at all. Nope.
Okay.
I can hear you, Robert.
You are unmuted, but I don't know if there's no microphone or your microphone.
Joni says she can hear me.
I can hear you.
Do you know sign language?
I can hear you,
I guess
Robert.
I don't need to spotlight you if I can't hear you, but
Everybody says they can hear me, Sean.
still can't hear you, but I see Marianne Townsend. Did you have a question, Marianne?
Yo, I was wondering.
I can't hear you either. Oh.
The other,
This is embarrassing. My speaker turned off, so I couldn't hear anybody.
Right. Everybody kept saying they heard me, but you. Go ahead with your question, dear, and then we'll do announcements.
on the other organs I had, I could listen to songs that were previous to get an idea of what they sound like, but I don't know if I have that on the Odyssey. That's songs already recorded that I could go onto a number and hear how it is. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like song setup, like it was number 1 was Amazing Grace. Song. Is there anything like that on the Odyssey?
Yes. Robert, can you hear?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can. I'm not sure how. Robert, do you know how to access the built-in songs on that?
On the Odyssey?
Yeah.
Yes. On
Good.
the right side of the organ, there is a music recorder section on it. And there are, I believe there's 25, at least 25 songs. But if you go on the right side of the organ where the music recorder is, you have there's a left and a right arrow. I don't have one in front of me.
Yeah, I see that.
Actually, hold on one second.
Right, 2 hours go to the left.
I think he's going to look at one because he's got one over there. But I think you're right, Robert. Yeah, there's the buttons on the right side of it. Let me do this, and I can even try it out live. See if I go over here to the Odyssey. Instead of having a button that says songs, and this works on the Premiere as well if you have that. But if I go over to that side here where it says music recorder over here, and if I just touch those arrows, so touch the right arrow, touch play.
I see that play.
The other thing with that is, if you want the songs to play continuously, you have to go into the window of the screen and the features and turn on what they call change songs. And change songs, you'll have the option of having all of the songs play that are built in. You have the ability to record some of your own songs. So you could have it to just play those, or you can play all of them.
Okay, now is there a button that says change songs?
Yes, it's in the
Feature
screen. You have to push feature and scroll to, I believe, change songs is the feature.
Feature. Okay, let me see if I
Yeah.
can find the feature. Oh, I see. Feature and clear.
Yeah. What store
Yes.
do you normally?
She's with me.
She's with you. You should set up a time to get some more instruction on that with Sean.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
Now,
Master here.
I don't need headphones to do it because I don't have any headphones.
No, you don't need them. You're fine.
Okay.
That'll play out of the organ.
Okay. Okay, we'll have to have a separate lesson in this.
Yeah. You just
okay.
got it, so that makes sense. You might have a
Okay.
few of them.
It'll be more fun for me. I can see how it plays, and then maybe I can do it myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Some
I'm
people
just
like to play
not-
along with it too.
It's not even a week old. Well, I think it's a week old today, maybe. Yeah. All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Are you set? Any other questions?
No, I think we're all good.
You can hear me now, Sean?
Yeah.
All right. Are you going to play a little, when I'm done here talking, you going to play a little farewell for today's song?
I wasn't, but I can now. They already
You are now.
made me, yeah.
Yeah, you know, we got to finish with a little performance. So while I'm doing a little couple announcements, you could think of that. Couple of things. First of all, thank you for all joining. I hope you learned something today and you had a great time. We have tomorrow, just in case, depending on your models, you can always learn from other models. So you feel free to join any of the classes. But Joni Monero is going to be teaching our EY series. There's Joni. Say hi. Oh, she's talking to somebody. Say hi, Joni. You're spotlighted. Wave your hand. She's going to be teaching tomorrow's EY series product features class. So she always does a wonderful job with that. And then on Wednesday and Thursday, our weekly virtual variety class is going to be Brian Lewis. So you're definitely not going to want to miss that.
It's what?
And the other thing is, I also want to say that,
Did you say it? It's nap time?
hold on, we're going to mute you there.
Oh,
There you go. We have this week, Friday, for our Zoom musical is our premiere. Is it premiere? Yeah, artist for the Zoom musicals. He's no stranger to a lot of the Florida stores, but we're going to have Carey Price doing his very first Zoom musical performance. And you probably got an email on that. And I'll talk about this is going to be an energized, fun show, so don't miss out on that. And last but not least, before we turn it over to Sean to play a little farewell for today's song, we have, I sent an email out. If you notice today, I'm in my, I'm a little bit more comfortable. I wear this shirt for a reason. I'll tell you what that is. But, you know, I sent an email out as a reminder. We have our hugest, largest liquidation in our history. And if you've ever been considering upgrading your instrument, now is a great time, because we are doing the largest liquidation in our history to reduce our inventory from all the overflowing inventory from what we have. And I wear this shirt because I feel much more comfortable. And as a result, I do very comfortable pricing. So I'm very relaxed. So now this is a good time to get me. Say, call Robert and ask him if he'll do something special for me on Model X or Model Y. But that ends on the 19th. So contact your PA if you have any interest in any of the models that we've been featuring. With that said, I'm going to turn it back over to Sean Maloney there. And you're going to do your final song there. Here we go.
All right. I selected on the holiday classic here I'm going to play contemporary music with the variations button on. And it gives me one on the center of the screen there. Oh, I wish you could see it. But it says surf's up, dude. So we're going to go. It doesn't say dude. It just says surf's up. But we're gonna go surfing here. So listen for the cool sounds in the background. I actually have waves in here. Let me switch so you can see it a little better. There it is. So I am gonna play some surf music here. Let's get wiped out. Woo! Let me switch back. Thank you very much for attending today, and we will see you soon. So have a good rest of your day. Thank you.